Hey friends, it's Miss Emily from the main branch of the Charleston County Public Library, here for another episode of Fairy Tale Foods. Today I have a tongue twister, a history lesson, and a recipe to share with you. So first for the tongue twister. Say as fast as you can, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. It's fun to try to say it as many times as you can, as fast as you can, and see how many times you can do it without screwing up. Personally, I can only ever get through one or two. All of the P sounds just really mess with me. You may have heard the tongue twister before, but did you know there's actually believed to be a real Peter who the Peter Piper tongue twister was based off of? He lived in the 1700s and his name was Peter Poivre, and poivre is actually the French word for pepper. He was a French colonial administrator, which means he traveled all across the world controlling the colonial governments for the French. Now, wherever he traveled, he planted gardens. He really loved gardening. In 1769, he wrote a book all about his travels, and they became a worldwide sensation. There's no direct evidence that the Peter Piper story and tongue twister was written about him, but it's widely believed. So, today we are going to make pickled peppers. It's a really tasty way to enjoy peppers, and we are doing a quick pickled version. There's different ways to pickle vegetables, and this method only takes a day or two before you can enjoy the results. So follow along with me. For the quick pickled peppers, we need a few ingredients. Half a pound of peppers. I chose jalapeno and serrano. You can choose whatever peppers you like. Salt, honey, vinegar, 2 cloves of garlic, and of course a jar for the pickled peppers to go into. The only other tools you will need are a knife and a pot for the water. The first step for quick pickled peppers is to prepare the peppers and the garlic. The garlic we just need to smash. Pretty easy. Use a paring knife. Press down. You don't need to cut it. You just need to smash the garlic and put it in the jar. The next step is to thinly slice the peppers. If you're working with hot peppers or for kids in general, the best advice is to use gloves, as if you're not used to the hot peppers, it can agitate your skin. I'm going to cut the tops off of each one and then take the seed membrane out, and then I'm going to slice it very thin. You can slice it as thin or as thick as you'd like. You can also use a mandolin at home if you have one to slice the peppers easily. And if you want a nice whole look for the peppers and you want them round, you don't have to worry as much about the seeds. I don't like super spicy peppers, so I have cut my peppers in half and taken out the seed membrane. You want to slice them as thin as you can, especially with hot peppers, unless you like something very, very spicy. As I slice each pepper, I'm going to put it in the jar, saving room for the liquid solution. So I want to fill the jar, but I want there to be room for the vinegar and the water mixture. As I take these slices and put them in the jar, I am just moving the seeds away with my hand. There's 2 different methods of cutting the peppers. You can either cut them in half and cut them into thin slices, or you can do what I did before, cut the top off, use the knife to try to get the stem part with the majority of the peppers out, and then once you cut them into whole slices, just take the peppers away with your hand. And I am doing this with my bare hands, but I do recommend gloves. Now that I have my jar filled with peppers, the next step is to prepare the pickling liquid. I'm going to clean this up and then I will get my liquid going. For the pickling solution, we're going to add 1 cup of water and 1 cup of distilled white vinegar with 2 tablespoons of honey, or if you want to use a different sugar, you can. I'm just using honey because that's what I have on hand. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. We are going to heat this on the stovetop until it is nearly boiling, making sure to stir the honey and the salt until they dissolve. In this video, we are pickling peppers, but pickling can be done with nearly any vegetable that you have on hand. Alrighty, our water is bubbling. It is not quite boiling, so I am going to turn the heat off and we are going to transfer the liquid to the jar. Parents, I do recommend you doing this part as it is hot liquids. I am transferring my liquid to my jar and I'm doing it slowly so as not to spill or to overflow the jar. Another important step in this process, I'm going to put the jar down because it's getting hot, is to take a chopstick or a butter knife, press the peppers down so as not to get any air pockets in. Once the water and vinegar mixture has cooled to room temperature and the jar is no longer hot to the touch, I will put the jar lid on top. If you've chopped your peppers very thinly, they can be enjoyed in up to / as quick as 10 minutes. For thicker slices, like the ones that I have, it's best to wait at least a day. When the liquid has cooled to room temperature and the jar is no longer hot to the touch, you can go ahead and press the lid of the jar on tightly. Then refrigerate the peppers. If you've sliced your peppers thinly, they can be ready up to as quick as 10 minutes. For thicker slices, like the ones that I have here, it's best to wait a day before enjoying.